celebrate Swami's birthday, particularly over the Thanksgiving weekend. And it's been a month-long celebrations with Akhand Bhajan to many home bhajans in the last week to being here for Swami's birthday. We have the pleasure of listening to Pardhiva Erramilli today. His family is part of, actually his family is very illustrious from its association with Swami for many generations. Swami they came into Swami's fold in the 1950s. And I'll say both sides, so you'll hear many names who were part of Swami's whole mission here. So Swami used to stay in their home in Hyderabad and give darshans and interviews to devotees in their home. And Swami designed their home during the construction phase in Hyderabad. And later on, when Swami was staying in the Shivam temple, he used to spend a lot of time with the family during meals and things like that. So Pardhiva's grandfather is the scientist Dr. Bhagavantam, who most of us may know from being with Swami for many years as a scientist, particularly very well known in the science field, and then came into Swami's fold and is part of many Satyam Shivam Sundaram stories. And his uncle is Dr. E. Sudarshan, who some of you may have heard him translate Swami's discourses. So prior to Professor Anil Kumar, it used to be Professor Nanjundaya, who used to be the controller of examinations, to translate Swami's discourses. Prior to that was E. Sudarshan, very eloquent speaker himself, and very eloquent in English particularly. So his translations are impeccable if you listen to the tapes from 70s and 80s. Pardhiva is also the son of Mr. Satyamurthy, for those of you who know from Hyderabad, very active in the Andhra Pradesh state organization. And his sisters are married into the Gandikota family, who we have had the pleasure of hearing here, Ravi Shankar and Sanjay, who are his two brothers-in-law. So two sisters who got married to two brothers. And many of us actually were part of that wedding because Swami did that wedding in Vrindavan in the early 90s. Pardhiva did his schooling in the Pardhi school from 93 to 95, and later on did his engineering, and subsequently came back to do his MBA from Swami's Institute. And then later on moved to the United States and went to school here in Kansas. He was also part of the Pardhi Bhajan group and an accomplished accordion player, very similar to Vidyanand, who we also have here in this area. And Pardhiva currently works in the IT field, IT healthcare field, and lives in the Boston area. And he and his wife, Usha, who's a doctor, and daughter, Sirisha, they attend the Northborough Center. So we are very happy. This is his first time sharing experiences as well. So I told him not to be too nervous because this is our own family here in the Boston area. So and I'm sure he'll share stories, particularly lots of good pictures from earlier times. So without further ado, I'll invite Pardhiva to speak to us.
I humbly pronounce the lotus feet of our sweet Lord Sai, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Srikant brother, Aditya brother, and the organizing committee of Northborough Sai Center for giving me a chance to share my experience. I'm doing this for the first time, so please forgive me for some mistakes. I've never spoken till now about Swami, even in front of Swami, so I'm trying to do this for the first time. My family, as introduced, came into Swami's fold from 1950s. It was my grandfather, Sri E.G. Krishnamurthy, who came into Swami's fold in 50s, and then later on my father. A little bit of story of how my father came into the fold. My father did his engineering, and he wanted to, like all his friends at that time, go to US to do masters and settle here. And so when my grandfather said, hey, we're going to have darshan of Swami, we're going to Puttaparthi, my father was kind of skeptical because he said, I'm engineer, this is logic and physics and maths, and you're telling me about a guru or God. So please keep me in the neutral mode, don't expect much from me. And my grandfather said, that is fine, just come, he's a loving guru, and then we'll take it from there. So just before that, even they were trying to get my father married, so they tried to come in combo deal, which means get him to Swami and also make him agree to marry, so that he might consider staying back in India. So the whole families came, the ladies' side, gents' side, and it was Pardhiva those days, I was told, because I was not born yet. So, and then Swami came to my father, and then he just touched him on his shoulders, and he said, "Hey, engineer," and then he smilingly left that place. And my father was kind of smitten, or went into a trance. He was not expecting. He prepared. All his friends told him, "Hey, this is the chance. You need to show you're an engineer. Blah blah whatever. Please, try to ask him some questions." But my father, once Swami touched him, kind of went into a silent trance, and whole day he keeps on telling me, and I remember it. Like every few hours, Swami used to come and give darshan, and he alone stayed back there. All the family left for breakfast, lunch, afternoon coffee, tea. But my father just stood there, just below the trees, and Swami was coming every 2 hours, smiling at him, giving abhayahasta, and going. And my father was not knowing what is happening. He said, even today's date, it's not meditation. He can't explain what is going on. Then again, around afternoon 2:30, Swami came and said, "Hey, you didn't have lunch or breakfast, what are you doing here?" And then again he patted him. Once he patted him the second time, my father came out of the trance, and he said, "Oh, okay, I think I forgot. This was beautiful, whatever I experienced, so I don't mind missing my meals at this point." And Swami said, No, you must be very hungry, come, and he created prasadam, something like suchi prasadam, and gave it to my father. He ate it, and then in the evening he called for interview for both the families, and he said to my father, "Hey, listen, your father wants you to help him in his family business. He went to the Albach, studied engineering, and started this small company. If you go away now, who will help your father? So it is my wish that you support your father in the small family business, and you can keep coming to Puttaparthi and having my darshan." So my father was like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine. And then, regarding United States, you are not going to US. And my father said, "Okay, Swami, whatever you say." My grandfather was kind of shocked, because my father, before all this, few days back, was saying, "I've already bought my tickets, my passport is ready, this is that. My university is chosen somewhere in Midwest, I don't even know, but I just want to go." But after interacting with Swami, he was so moved with Swami's love and Swami's grace to all the devotees and also the family members, that he was just lost in happiness. So even if Swami was saying to do something, he would have done it. What I mean is, he was totally in sync with Swami's commands. And in the same interview, Swami performed my father and mother's marriage. He created Mangal Sutra, asked my father to tie to my mother, and then said later on, "Today night I will arrange a dinner at the top of the terrace." And he made the canteen organizers prepare delicious meals, and the families had dinner, prasadam by Swami. And he also told my mother's father, my grandfather said, he said, "I know this seems to be like a simple marriage, you can also go back and do a proper marriage." And my grandfather said, "That is fine, Swami, whatever the ladies wish, but this is good enough for us. So if they want, we might do, but this is the main marriage." And so that started the journey of my father. And if you look at the picture here, right? I think he came around mid-50s to Swami, and after that, my father is the person carrying the red briefcase after Colonel Jogarao, third from Swami, or rather, 2 persons behind Swami. And he used to accompany Swami everywhere. It was Badrinath, Kedarnath trip, then Ooty trips, and this was one of the trips where Swami going in the airlines, or rather my father accompanying Swami in the party. This was the Ooty trip, and then because he's touching a car, I am reminded of a car incident with my father and Swami. So Swami's love is so much to all of us. He's always ever loving and so graceful and cheerful. But he also pays attention to minor details. And this was one of the trips where, I think in Godavari or Tanuku, one of the trips where they used to rotate the drivers. Like Raman Rao Garu used to drive for some time, then my father used to pick up. Sometimes Swami used to drive. So my father used to say that even Swami used to drive, and he used to drive very beautifully. But he used to give chance after a party. I know I can drive, but I want you to get the chance. So in one of those night journeys, my father started falling asleep. So Swami noticed that, and my father was driving the car. So then he woke up my father lovingly and said, "Hey, you're driving, how can you be sleeping?" And then he kept on telling so many jokes and bhajans and some interesting facts. And that, I think for 3-4 hours from morning 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. my father didn't sleep, but Swami also did not sleep. I'm talking about the physical part. Swami in the spiritual front, is always awake and is always listening to our prayers. Is always doing great divine things. But in the physical body, he didn't sleep. So even my father cried and said, "Swami, why didn't you sleep?" I said, I was giving you company. So that kind of love it was. And related to the car only, there is one more incident. So one of the trips, Swami suddenly asked my father and said, he sent a word to my father and said, "Come to Prashanti now." So my father started from Hyderabad, and he was coming in his own car. And he was about to reach Puttaparthi, I think 2 hours or 2.5 hours, right around the Anantapur area, Anantapur district, India. And then, as usual, he fell asleep. But this time it was fatal because he had yogurt rice or curd rice, and it makes a person very sleepy. And he couldn't control his sleep. And the car went and hit the bridge and made two rolling movements, and then it halted. And the steering had hit my father's neck and the jaw area. In those days, these cars were like ambassador car, which means like the steering is really very hard. Even if you just touch it with little hard, you might get some, a small sprain or something. And so this was the whole impact was on his neck, and so he was bleeding and he felt unconscious. And just before that, he shouted Om Sai Ram. And from nowhere, after I think 20 minutes, one lorry driver appeared. And he took him to the only hospital they knew was Puttaparthi General Hospital. So they brought him to Puttaparthi General Hospital and informed Swami. Swami immediately rushed. By this time, it became morning. So Swami took his car and rushed to General Hospital and told him, "Hey, I told you to come, you were coming, but why did you eat yogurt rice?" My father said, "So sorry, Swami, it so happened, whatever." Then Swami said, "Okay, he created Vibhuti." And he applied and he told the doctors that keep him for 4 months here. This is a serious injury, and get a general surgeon from Bangalore, let them operate on him and give him sedation, whatever anesthesia in those days equivalent. And so for the next 4 months, Swami took so much care of my father, and he recovered. It took him 4 months' time. Even now he has the cut from his chin to the neck, and he always tells us that it reminds him of Swami's taking care And so Swami's love to all our devotees, and how Ananda Swarupa and how loving Mother, Divine Mother Swami is. After those, initially during the Shivam construction time, I think I have to chronologically change, but that's Swami used to spend time in our home in Hyderabad near Shivam temple, and Swami, before construction, we were in a rented home in 50s, and Swami said, no, you need to have your own home, and Swami has to give darshans in that home, and also I will give you how to design. Don't just construct off normally. I want it in a particular design. So the way he did it was, in the home there are partitions for ladies side and gents side. There is a garden area, and Swami used to walk in the garden and put the chair in the middle and give darshan, and bhajans used to happen there. And Swami's room used to be close by, and all his meals used to be there. And Swami used to like a pickle called gongura, or it is made from some kind of leaf. For translation, apologize, I don't get the exact word. But he used to enjoy that pickle prepared in the home, and also I think we learned that Swami also likes one more kind of pachi pulusu, or a sambar equivalent, but which has little more tamarind in it and combination. So Swami used to enjoy those dishes and bless the family. At the same time, even Dikshit Garu, husband and wife Raja Reddy Garu and his wife Dikshit, came to do bhajans in our home, and Swami used to give them training in how to sing bhajans. Not that they did not know, but any one, two new bhajans Swami used to teach them. And even Mrs. Dikshit Garu mentioned it in the Radio Sai interview, that in the home Swami taught it, and later on cross-checked saying, who taught this bhajan? And Dikshit Garu said, Swami, it is you. Yeah, that is correct. I don't want you to say you picked it up, but because, not that other way, but what it meant was Swami was just checking if she was honest or whatever. And later on said he only did it to give a chance or have a conversation. So, this was the Shivam opening puja done in the 70s. My father is on one side of Swami, and back of Swami with spectacles is my grandfather, Sri E.G. Krishnamurti Garu. My father is Satyamurti, and to the corner is Bhagwantam Garu's eldest son, Mr. Ramakrishna Suri. So the way I am related to Dr. Bhagwantam Garu is my father's sister got married to the Bhagwantam Garu's family, and is the wife of Dr. Suri, Ramakrishna Suri Bhagwantam, who is standing in the corner in the picture. So Swami finally did the puja. And Swami had given us a chance to give our land to Swami. He blessed us and accepted it. We had a little bit of land in addition to our home. And during home buying only, Swami said, buy little extra land, I'll tell you later what to do. And that has now become Shivam temple land. Just the land, the construction and all, Swami got the engineers and finances. But it is Swami's chance given in grace to our family to give a small piece of land to him, and we are grateful. This is again Swami in Hyderabad. Swami's residence used to be upstairs near the Shivalingam area, and here if you notice he is giving darshan from the windows, and is also giving a speech in Shivam temple during the late 70s. And at the same time even Mr. Raman Rao Garu used to come for darshans then. That is how he also came at the same time, first darshan of Swami in Hyderabad, and after darshan and few more encounters with Swami, he also became devotee of Swami. So Swami's power of transformation and love and guidance are always nice to all of us. The same Shivam temple in the current times, I just put a color photograph to make it relevant. And this is during the opening of Shivam Prayer Hall. So to the right of the Shivam temple here, like in this picture to the left, but there is that prayer hall where he wanted bhajans to be done when it rains or it becomes too chilly, and that too because to make sure that the devotees feel comfortable when they are doing the bhajans and darshan. So he also opened the Shivam's prayer hall. This is my father showing him some areas. My father used to always say one word that Swami, even in the physical form, was the best analytical engineering person you can have, because even if you get the top design or whatever, he would be an analytical critic for it only on the logical front, not crossing over the boundaries, but within the boundaries of engineering and physics and construction and civil engineering. Swami used to also give his practical advice that if you keep the puja room here, it will be nice. If you keep the prayer room northwest, so a little bit of vastu Swami used to follow in a very small way, not a big way, but just to make sure that things are mangalam and in good auspicious ways. So then even in 1990s, my father used to follow behind Swami for general just crowd control or things, and he was blessing the Hyderabad Sevadal here, giving them Padamaskar and Vibhuti, and my father was just following him on the side. This is Satyasai Vidyavihar, Hyderabad. Swami also gave permission to have a school building there. It was there originally in one location called Shantinagar, but later on that was a building of a particular devotee's home. So when the school's strength started increasing, Swami said, no, we need to have a separate building. So this is a 5-acre land Swami made the trust by. And here he is interacting with children. Swami always used to give a lot of importance to devotees, then children, because he used to say if you catch them young and train them when they're young, then they can be used as a better instruments when they grow up in the Sai fold or in the good human values. So Balavikas was started during that time. I also studied in that school before coming to Puttaparthi. So when Swami came, I used to be there like in a band or cultural drama. Due to his grace, he used to give the chance and all the students used to perform, and Swami used to crack jokes. Then when bhajan is going on, he used to also attend bhajan practice sessions for school children too, and suggest songs like this is too slow, keep this fast after third song, similar to how Srikant brother and Kumar sir and Aditya brother tell. After one point in the bhajan, the tempo has to be speed, and Swami used to tell all those in a small way to when the school children in Satyasai Hyderabad, only to emphasize that we are maintaining the tempo and nobody feels like sleeping because we are celebrating in the name of the Lord. Then coming to the Kodaikanal trip, my parents' 25th wedding anniversary coincided with the Kodaikanal trip, and Swami also took me during the same time. It was early 90s, I think 93 or 94 summer. And my father came to have blessing of Swami, and Swami, granted him. He also gave us an interview and blessed us, saying, guiding us for solutions and things. And this is with Professor Anil Kumar sir and my father. Those days, Professor Anil Kumar sir was All India. He was a designated officer in State President. Sorry, thank you. State President, and there used to be a group of committee members under him. So my father also gave chance to, Swami also gave chance to my father to be part of the team. And they used to regularly visit Swami and take instructions on how to run the school, or how to run Shivam, or if any trust-related work is coming, Swami used to discuss with them and cross-check if they understood it. Like a pop quiz used to also happen, so my father used to make notes to make sure that he doesn't miss things. This is only due to so Swami is the best ideal divine entrepreneur and also the divine organizer, and it is his organization. We are all just a part of helping hands in the big mission. So this was taken in Vrindavan, Whitefield campus. Then Swami giving darshan in Parthi, and all was not rosy in even our family's lives. We did have problems which we went through like everyone. We had a lot of financial problems, a lot of general life problems. Two of my brother-in-laws passed away due to tragic accidents. One in car accident and one had a health problem. And Swami was there like a pillar, guiding the family continuously, and giving solace to my father, giving instructions, telling him to be, Swami is there for you, don't worry, everything will be taken care of. You just keep doing your duty and pray to Swami. So every few months my father used to come and say things are improving and improving. It took us 5 to 7 years to come out of the bad period, but without Swami it would have not been possible. And that is the beautiful grace of Swami. He is so loving, and he is there for all of us when we need him. Sometimes when we need him, or when we don't pray also, he is there. And that is how infinite mercy and infinite grace Swami showers on all of us. So when problems are there, Swami is the best guidance giving person, or Divine Mother guiding us. As Brother Srikant said, Swami performed marriages to my two sisters, to the two brothers of Gandikota family, Shri G.V. Ravishankar and Shri G.V. Gandikota. Before that, he also performed marriages for my two elder sisters. I totally have 4 elder sisters and I am the 5th one. At this point, there is an incident which comes to my mind. Like he called both the families and he said, this is a unique situation because I'm the boys' side, I'm the girls' side. So I need to balance both. And he took so much care on like what saris the brides should wear, what dresses the bridegroom should wear, and then the arrangements. He called then Vrindavan Warden, Mr. Narsimurthy Garu, who had all the right powers and right channels, and also all the lecturers of Vrindavan campus and our family, and told them how we should arrange, when should, I think it was more like a South Indian style, so we didn't have Sangeet, like a North Indian style, but it doesn't matter, Swami was guiding, and like one day he blessed both the boys' side and the girls' side with multiple interviews, and then he told my sisters, and also told my brother-in-law separately, that for my sisters he said, you should take care of your in-laws nicely, you should take care of your children nicely, and to my brother-in-laws he told, you should take care of the family, your parents and the job, and keep praying to Swami, everything will work out. So he was coming down to that kind of granular level and giving very good advice, which is useful to everyone, because Swami used to perform marriages to many devotees in those years, and all of them got similar instructions from Swami. And it is his grace and infinite love which made that possible. This is the baby being held is me. It's my mother holding me. And this is in my home in Hyderabad. This was the naming ceremony. Swami also named all my elder sisters and me. For my name, he had mentioned this. My father's name is Satyamurthy. My grandfather's name is Krishnamurthy. So he asked my father and grandfather, so do you want this person also to be named something Murthy? Then they said, yeah, Swami, yeah, that is fine, whatever you say. And he said, no, let's keep it different. Everybody is Murthy anyway. At least this third generation, let's try to put a small twist or a difference. So he like this story I don't know. My mother told me, so I know because I was too small to grasp at that point. But he told that, okay, so let's say this, Krishna, Arjuna, I am Sai Krishna, he should be Arjuna. Arjuna has many names, Arjuna, Falguna, Partha, Kiriti, Setuvahana, then he stopped. Oh, okay, there are so many names, let's pick Pardhiva. So, and he said not Partha Sarathi, because Partha Sarathi again means Krishna. So he said, no, let's keep him Pardhiva. And due to, my US times of spelling mistake, I had to change my name to Pardhiva. But Swami's given name is THI, so Pardhiva. Just because here records are very clear here, or rather they cross-check everything. And there was a mistake made, like in my school it became D, so I had to change everywhere. This is with Swami in Shivam temple. My father used to always have a stick ready and ready to hit me after these encounters, because I used to pick things from Swami's plate without knowing. This was taking this was taking a grape from his plate, and afterwards did not end well. Of course, Swami patted me and everything, but I had a sore back once I went home. Only because it's not expected, and Swami was so loving. He allowed some small child to pick up a grape and have it, and even take a picture, which is unforgettable memories. And in the same picture, in another instance, Swami was eating pan, and I was very curious. So I asked him, Swami, what is it? And Swami said, you are too small, you won't understand, leave it. I said, no Swami, I just want to know what is it you're eating, your lips are becoming red, and it must be some sweet or something. And Swami said, it is not sweet, it is very spicy, so leave it. I said, no Swami. And then my father was again getting ready the stick. I was like, okay, I'll still ask. So I did ask Swami, can you please give me one pan? And Swami said, see, I'm warning you, once you feel like after you eat it, you might feel you've eaten a green chili or a hot pepper. Then you don't blame me. I said, okay Swami. And then he gave me a pan, a small piece of the pan, and I ate, and I felt a volcano erupted in my mouth. It was so spicy, and I ran away crying, and then my father tells me, yeah, that's why Swami said no, and first of all, you have no duty to go into Swami's pan area and things like that. So it's just he's playful, rather Swami giving the chance here, and he gives chance to all of us. So I just happened to be there at that time. There were many devotees and many students who had similar chances. It just so happened to be I was there at that point in time. This is the Kodaikanal trip in the 1990s, and this is where music started in me, rather Swami made me start music. So he first came and asked me in the initial days, do you want to do translation? I said, no Swami, what is translation? No, I won't be able to do Swami. He said, no, you know Telugu, I talk Telugu, you just have to flip it to English. I said, no Swami, I cannot do translation. And he said, what you are talking like this? You should be confident, you should not be shaky like this, Anything Swami tells, jump at it. don't be shaky or nervous, because I'll take care, I told you that. But still I said, no Swami, I cannot. Then Swami said, okay, why don't you play a music instrument? Then I said, that also I don't know, Swami. He said, no, this one you have to definitely do. I know what, you will make mistakes initially and then it will be corrected. And then he told my guru, Sri Sailesh Srivastava sir, that may I teach this guy something. And over years of permutation, combinations and lot of mistakes, I reached at least some bhajan playing level, which I am grateful to Swami for. So it is, the point here is, Swami is the one who will give us a chance or rather encourage all the devotees and students saying, why don't you try this? Why don't you do public speaking? Why don't you do service? Or why don't you do music instrument? Why don't you do singing? All this is to increase our confidence in us and prepare us, for the corporate world or the real world which is in store for us down the line. And when we look back of those wonderful years we spent with Swami, at that point what seemed to be shaky, shy, confident or confidencelessness turns out to be a divine lesson which came after many years. And due to that music, it helped me even in my current office situations. All of us go through stress, and they say meditation, music, Nama Smarana, miracles, Sambhashan or talking about Swami, all these are paths to reduce our stress and also connect with our Lord Sai. This is Swami blessing me on my birthday, and there is a humorous incident which comes to my mind here. So, sometimes Swami makes everybody go through tests, everybody is aware of it. So, what happens is, he starts talking, then after a few months, he stops talking. It's like one feels he's in a Sahara desert, no water, very heat. Swami is not looking at you, world is not looking at you. It is just a temporary phase, and later on, one devotee becomes mature to understand it is all his game and test. But during that time, as a student, I was very disappointed and sad. So I came up with a plan, only to be put down by Swami or caught by Swami. So I said, see, so many birthday boys come every year. What if I come back again, just within few months? So many boys are there, okay, once more I came back, at least I got chance. So I think after my birthday, 6 months or 7th month, I again came back with the tray. And Swami straightly asked me on that, when he was about to take the chocolate, he said, how many times will you celebrate birthday in a year? I said, no Swami, no, don't tell me. I saw you come back 7 months before. It's not 1 year yet. So it is just, all in this is to say that even in the physical plane, Swami's memory and Swami is watching all of us all the time. And after that I never went again, in the same year 2 times, but it was a good learning curve for me. But I tried to get an extra darshan, but Swami caught me logically. And I am grateful for teaching that lesson, that Swami keeps paying attention to all of us. And one more thing which my father told, which I get reminded upon, is Swami does not forsake us, and Swami never guiding us like a loving mother, a divine mother, loving God. Due to many miracles and experiences and the life troubles, I can say from my small experience that I've been grateful to be associated or be a dot in the timeline to experience His grace. This is during the MBA drama, and here also a funny incident comes to my mind. So we assembled for the practice. I think it's just the next picture. Yeah, we assembled for the practice before Swami. Swami called all of us for interview. And he said, what are all the characters? So one fellow said, I did not know my character yet. So Narasimhamurthy Garu said, this boy is Shiva, and that boy is Yama, and that boy is somebody. And then Markandeya. So, okay. Then Swami said, hey, okay, rehearse your dialogue in front of me. So I thought Shiva is Raudra Swarupava, the guy who's very angry all the time. So I started telling the lines with lot of anger. How dare you do this to Markandeya? My God, my goodness, and my blood pressure was up, 150/100. And then Swami stopped, said, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then immediately Warden sir looked at me as if I'm going to get it now. I said, okay Swami, I'm sorry. I said, see, I want you guys to be loving. So now you tell the same dialogue lovingly. So then obviously that became a laughing thing in the audience because they didn't expect Shiva to lovingly correct Yama. But it all is good in the drama. But the point Swami was trying to make was his devotees and his students and all his followers that we should always speak obligingly, we should always be loving to others. So finally I ended up telling the dialogue like, how dare you put the noose of death among Markandeya's neck? God bless you. Something like that. And all audience were laughing, Swami enjoyed it, and later he came back to the green room after the drama and he told, see, good, you should tell lovingly. I don't mind you had a bad character. Even the villain should talk lovingly in the drama. So, and that was the beautiful experience. I learned that Swami wants us to be always speaking obligingly and with love. And this is during the Upaneyanam or thread ceremony, and where Gayatri Mantra Swami chanted in my ear. And then he told, see, the most important part of Upaneyanam or the thread ceremony is Gayatri Mantra Upadesha, from Guru to the disciple. And in this case, Lord Sai to all the students over there. And then he told the significance. He said, I'll give you a secret, students and devotees and everybody. People you want you to be sharp in office or, remember most things and pay attention in office, and also for students in academics, the secret is chant Gayatri Mantra. Chant it. I think for one of the students he told 108 times, but he was kind enough, he said 9 times is good for me. But what he meant was every day if you keep chanting in the morning hours, once you wake up and brush, it keeps your concentration up and you might suddenly become a mighty professor. I'm only telling that in context, please don't get me wrong. But what I mean is you'll become very sharp and focused. And Swami gave that simple secret of Gayatri Mantra. And even now, I've seen in the recent TV interviews coming in NDTV, they had a research done and they were quoting Gayatri Mantra is helping students to crack IIT or help them in entrance exams, helping the corporate world to take better steps. So Swami told us always, but only when the world tells us and reinforces do we get to realize the importance. And lastly, due to Swami's induction of me into music, I began participating in bhajans. The only song I know is one song, and even Sai Center knows that, just one song, and the same song I sang before Swami. It is Om Shivaya Bhajan, simple to pick up, and of course accordion, and it really helped me to go through live music. As a student, I was an average student, but His Swami's grace, He made me do engineering MBA, then MS in US. It would have not been possible without Swami's grace and music and Gayatri Mantra, of course, through Swami. And my family is ever grateful to Swami for the infinite love showered to us, and also to hold us when we were having a lot of problems in our lives. I also reminded of one more story or an incident regarding me. So when I was a child, during my first birthday, doctors declared it as the death day. They told my parents that get ready, the child is going to collapse. And then my father sent word to Swami, and Dr. Bhagavantam Garu was there in Parthi, and also his eldest son Ramakrishna Suri Bhagavantam. And they Swami sent Vibhuti through them, and it came to me, and Swami, like a loving mother, told my mother that you need to wash the milk bottles with hot water and soap. You need to clean the room with disinfectant. He was giving like to the word, to the T instructions, and my mother was crying. And then they gave Vibhuti, they applied in the drip given to me. And it took me 4 to 5 months to recover. And I recovered, and I'm standing before you. And then Swami told my parents, it is his second life. Be careful. And also just before that, after 4 daughters, my father was grateful to Swami, but Swami said, you need to have a son. You'll come to know later on the impact, or rather it will help you later. And then he created a fruit and gave to my mother and said, you'll be blessed with a boy, and I'll take care of him and will take care of the family, and it will help your family in the later years. And then after the year I was born, and the connecting dot of it is my father suffered kidney failure in the last few years, and because I was there, His Swami's grace, it helped me to serve my father during his last days. 2 to 3 years we could keep him with dialysis in his kidney failure, and it is Swami who saw it could come in the 2000s, in 1970s itself. Of course, Swami is all-knowing. Is a divine mother and divine God. So I owe my life, and my family owes our lives, and we are ever grateful and thankful to Swami. Sai Ram.